Okay. Look like we live. Contender regime boxing. Checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? Another random pop-up live. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Hit them boys in the head one time with a random pop-up live. I told you, make sure you have your notifications on because you never know when I'm going to show up. You never know. And I got some shit we got to talk about, man. I have some things that we have to discuss. You feel me? I have some things that we have to discuss, man. Salute to everybody, man. Please hit that like button as you slide through. It's greatly appreciated. You feel me? It's greatly appreciated. You know. You know what I mean? We're gonna chop it up on this beautiful Saturday, man. It's wonderful. The weather is wonderful. The weather is immaculate out here in Dallas, Texas, man. It's beautiful. Man, I love that spring weather. It's really starting to feel like spring for real. So I'm really enjoying this shit, man. I know y'all can see the sun is out. It's looking magnificent outside, man. If you anywhere in the area, I know you enjoying this. Shout out to the brother Walter Lee. What's good with you, my brother? Shout out to my brother Devin Blocker in the building. What's good? Shout out to the brother Shaquan in the building. What's good? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh man, I love this is something that, I really feel like this have to be said, man. I really feel like this something that need to be spoken on. You feel me? Shout out to my brother Steven Phillips in the building. What's good? What's good, man? I hope y'all doing well. I hope y'all had a great week. You know, nothing but positive things. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all was productive, successful. Man, I hope y'all was able to go ahead and get everything y'all needed to get done this week, man. And, get ready to enjoy the weekend. Shout out to my brother Jay Harris, too. Real in the building. What's good? Say what's up with it, fam. It's a beautiful day today in our beautiful city. Big facts. Yes, sir. It's beautiful out here today, man. It's beautiful. I love this weather, dog. Shout out to the homie Fabo in the building. What's good? Jackie in the building. How you doing? Shout out to you, Queen. Said, yes, it is. I need you to get me through this last hour. If you haven't got your mail, say, you want to get it today. Let's go. Hey, big facts. Oh, yeah, we got you. I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to definitely hold you down. Shout out to the brother Steven in the building. Shout out to the homie, man. Kano Loco Sports in the building. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to Kano Loco Sports, I don't know what you're doing, but you better get over there ASAP and do it, man. Always great content. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Puerto Rico. Always holding it down for Puerto Rico, man. Hey, that's the homie right there for real. Shout out to Anthony Mazzano in the building. What's good? Shout out to the brother Mo G in the building. Salute. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's good? And I'm sorry, Fabo. I don't know why I said queen. I don't know why I thought that was a female. I'm sorry. But shout out to the brother Fabo in the super chat coming through and showing love. Big boss status. I appreciate that, dog. 100, man. My apologies. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the homie Braden White in the building. What's good? Say, yeah, this Texas weather Gucci. Hey, it's lit outside right now, man. It's lit. Lead by example. What's good? Salute. Said, when the fight gets made, then all my fellow Crawford supporters will have to sit back and shut up. Thank you. That's exactly what they gonna have to do. But hey, we gonna ease on into it because this is something that I see that we are. See, that's why I fuck with y'all. Because we be on the same wavelength. You know what I'm saying? We on the same page. That's why I fuck with y'all. I ain't even have to say what I was gonna say already, but bro he already know what's going on. That's why I fuck with y'all, bro. Salute. But we gonna ease on into it, man. We gonna ease on into it. I want everybody to really hear what's going on, man. And just cause this need to be said, dog. We need to talk about this. Sheldon Moore, salute to you, my brother. He said Cobbs get stopped tonight. Hey, I want to ask y'all what y'all think about the Blair Cobbs fight. You know, Virgil Ortiz had a medical situation, man. He had to pull out the fight. I was really looking forward to watching Virgil Ortiz. I'm a huge fan of Virgil Ortiz, man. Was really looking forward to that. But on the flip side, you know, now Blair Cobbs, who's been doing all this talking, now he has an opportunity to take center stage and show us what he got. So I really don't know too much about Alexis Rocha. You know what I'm saying? But I'm hoping, I really don't care who wins, but I'm hoping that both guys put up a good fight so we can see like who really about this shit. That's what I'm hoping. Shout out to the brother Michael Jimerson in the building. What's good? The boxing channel I respect the most. Hey, that mean a lot, bro. Salute, dog. Salute, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through and interacting and talking this good boxing, dog. That's what keep it going. You know, us interacting, man, and, you know, talking this good boxing. Shout out to Dave's Kate all day in the building. EJ about to squabble Ugas. Bud trying to squabble Aram. Ha! Big facts. You know, EJ over there unifying titles. You feel me? EJ unifying titles. Shout out to the OG Mr. Month in the building coming through and showing love. I appreciate it, my brother. What's good? Say he fight tonight. Yes, Blair Cobbs is fighting. He was gonna be on the undercard of the Virgil Ortiz and McKinson fight on the zone, but since Virgil Ortiz is out, their fight has been elevated to the main event. So yes, Blair Cobbs will be fighting tonight versus Rocha. Kano Loco Sports say he picking Rocha. Okay. See, I'm going to be honest. I haven't really seen a whole lot of Blair Cobbs, and I haven't seen a lot of Rocha as well. So I'm hoping that, you know, Rocha going to bring that action because I want to see what Blair Cobbs all about. All this shit he talking, I want to see what he all about. So I'm hoping Rocha come through with that smoke so we can see the brother get tested. Shout out to Walter Lee, if I haven't already shouted y'all. Shout out to my brother Ricky Williams, boxing in the building. Another great YouTube channel talking that boxing, man. Salute. Appreciate you for pulling up, dog. And we definitely gonna link, dog. I ain't forgot about you. We definitely gonna link. For sure. Shout out to the brother, that guy George in the building. What's good? Lead by example said prayers for Ortiz. Hope this ain't nothing that hindered his career. Facts, man. I hope he able to get through this. You know what I'm saying? And get back to it. You know, I know a lot of people talking about possible steroids uses and things like that. I'm not gonna jump to no conclusions because, you know, Virgil Ortiz ain't never he never popped dirty for no drugs. He never was in no type of scandal or anything like that. So I ain't gonna put that jacket on him and throw that dirt on him like that. You know, I'm gonna see what's good, but I just hope his health is straight. You feel me? I hope his health is good, man. Shout out to the homie Knockout Boxing 86 TV in the building. What's good, my brother? Hold on. Let me make sure my brother, let me make sure my brother wrenched up in that hoe. Shit. I'm over here fat finger and shit. Yeah, you feel me? Let me make sure my boy good in this hoe, man. Hey, shout out to the brother Knockout Boxing 86 TV. You gotta subscribe to him as well, doing his thing, bruh. Tuned into his live last night, man. Always breaking down the fights, giving predictions. 100, man. Salute to Knockout Boxing 86 TV. You feel me? Say, I'm more. Oh, yeah. Berlanga fight tonight, too. Ain't he fighting Steve Rose? That should be a pretty decent fight. I said I already done seen Cobbs knocked out on his ass. Knocked on his ass. Yeah. But you know what? He now he got the spotlight shined on him. He's coming out not only disrespecting and being distasteful and just egregiously, you know, unbelievably, unnecessarily, you know, just acting crazy out here and just going wild and doing everything he can for attention. Not only is he doing that towards ERROL Spence, he calling out Boots Ennis, talking bad about Canelo and all these other people. I just want to see him actually come out here and shine under the lights. Now you got this attention that you've been craving oh so much. This spotlight that you've been asking for is finally on you. And it just so happened a recent unfortunate series of events for Virgil Ortiz. It's actually fortunate for him. He's going to be elevated to the main event and everybody's eyes is on him now. Let's see what he do. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what he do. Oh, we got one. Vince Vegas said when then pigs fly. We got one. But I appreciate you coming through anyway, Vince Vegas. What's good? Nature Boy in the building. What's good? Say what up, everybody. April is a huge month for the sport of boxing. Big facts. It's finna be lit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother Levon Down Gaither in the building. What's good? What time is the fight? I know the Blair Cobbs fight is gonna be like standard time, like probably like 8 o'clock Central Time. The Berlanga fight is going to be on ESPN tonight, so I think that's going to be right around the same time. I know Regis Prograis, he was fighting overseas in Dubai, and I think their fight has already taken place. I didn't even get a chance to check out the Regis fight. How did anybody get a chance to watch Regis's fight? Because they had it on some type of Euro app. I didn't even know how to get access to it. Did anybody check out Regis Prograis' fight today? And how did he do? I don't know who won or what. Said Prograis won on stoppage. I watched it. Okay, hey, kind of loco. What app was that on? Like, how did you watch the fight? Was it on? Did you watch it on stream or did you actually have the app? Because I know it was some type of like Euro app or something like that, but I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know how to get access to it. Regis TKO in 6. Okay. Shout out to Regis Prograis, man. One of the best fighters at 140. You know what I'm saying? I go back to that Josh Taylor fight all the time. I thought that shit could have went either way. You know what I mean? I thought that shit could have went either way. Shout out to the brother True Religion T in the building. What's good? I thought that Regis and Josh Taylor fight could have went either way. He could very well be undefeated. Right? He could be undisputed right now. I mean, if we being honest, Regis could very well be undisputed at 140 right now. You know, so a lot of people wrote Regis off after that loss, man. But I think he got a lot in him, man, and he can do some great things at 140 and maybe 147. Didn't like Jamal energy on hot boxing. Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, I had to touch on that. You know what I'm saying? If y'all missed my last video, definitely tune into that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't rocking with that, man. But you know, I ain't gonna drag the brother through the mud. You know, hopefully he get his shit together, man. You feel me? Said Regis beat the shit out of dude. He looked leg sharp. Said he looked leg sharp and in great shape. Said I ain't seen him look in that type of shape in a minute. He got the same. Yep, I was just about to say that. He got the same nutritionist as Spence. Fight to be fit. Yes, sir. As I was reading that, I was just about to say that he working with the same guy that's working with ERROL Spence. You know what I mean? Getting his nutrition right, you know, strength and conditioning, just making sure he in top shape. And I've been actually following on Regis's Instagram, man, just seeing the work that he putting in, you know, and I could tell that he was going to be ready. I wasn't really too worried about the guy he was fighting. This pretty much just a stay busy fight. You know, of course, Regis wanted to get Mike in there. That fight fell through. You know, he had been calling out, you know, the likes of Adrian Broner and, you know, different guys at 140, but he weren't able to get those fights. However, I just knew that he was going to go into this fight and look good, man. So, and I'm glad to hear that all that work that he's been putting in as far as his nutrition and strength and conditioning is actually working out. That spells, you know, good things for ERROL Spence, because we see how ERROL Spence looking right now, and I'm expecting good things. Shout out to the brother Cincinnati Slim in the building. What's good? Shout out to Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Regis beats Taylor in a rematch. I agree. I would definitely pick Regis in a rematch with Taylor. I think he would make the proper adjustments. And he fucking around and stopped Josh Taylor. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. Said Regis gave away too many rounds in that Taylor fight. I was hurt by that one. Yeah, he did. I thought he was a little bit too respectful. I don't know if it was him being too respectful or maybe him having the wrong game plan, trying to box a little bit more than he should have. I thought if he would have pressed Josh Taylor a little bit more, you know, he'd have been in a better situation, because Regis can box, but he also has he's also very sharp coming forward too. And he's good at putting that pressure on, got fast hands, and he's one of those guys that can counterpunch while moving forward, which a lot of guys can't really do that. A lot of guys not skilled at walking forward, making you miss, and then countering you while coming forward. Most counterpunchers are only good when they have a guy chasing them. You know what I'm saying? So I think in a rematch, he would definitely go in there with a more aggressive mindset. And I think he fuck around and get Josh Taylor up out of there. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? But look, so now that we got, our brothers in here, man, you know what I'm saying? We got the people in here now. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So I want to ask y'all a question. Well, first, before I even ask this question, as you see in the title, right? So you see, there's so much like cloudiness, so much negativity, so much hate surrounding Errol Spence. Now that they see he has this opportunity, they was already hating on Errol Spence heavy when the Manny Pacquiao fight got announced, right? Shout out to the brother Jay Harris who said, hit that like button. Y'all hit that like button if you haven't already. I appreciate it. 100. You feel me? But when the Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight got announced, it was like a uproar of hate. Like everybody, oh my God, he's not fighting Terence Crawford. Oh, he's going after the old Manny Pacquiao. Oh my God. What it really was, because look, them same people, if Terence Crawford would have got that fight, they would have been like, oh yeah, it makes sense. That's Manny Pacquiao. It's a huge fight. It's legacy. It's a big payday. You know what I'm saying? It's everything. You know what I'm saying? It's Manny Pacquiao. Of course he's gonna take that fight. But because Errol Spence got the fight, he put hashtag blame Bob. It was an uproar of hate. It was an uproar of negativity. You know what I'm saying? And so many people throwing slick shots and sneak dissing and shit like that. They was mad because they didn't want to see Errol Spence on that level. They didn't want to see him become a household name. They didn't want to see him get the opportunity. A lot of Manny Pacquiao fans was pissed off because they didn't want to see their legend just get beat to a bloody pulp and retired unwillingly. They didn't want him to get retired forcefully. That's what they feared. That's the Manny Pacquiao fans. But then also, the Terence Crawford fans, because a lot of them motherfuckers is toxic. You got real Terence Crawford fans like me and my brother D Luckett that y'all be saying in the chat. These real Terence Crawford fans, you feel me? But a lot of these motherfuckers is toxic though. You dig what I'm saying? So because it was Earl, they was mad that he was gonna get that opportunity. They like, damn, even though if Terence Crawford got the fight, they would have been perfectly fine. Right? So they was hot. They was hot about that shit. Fight fall through. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence, unfortunately, gets the eye injury. Now motherfuckers, they like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, people laughing and making jokes and shit. Oh, he injury prone, he this. He ain't gonna never be the same. Errol Spence is wise, this, and that. Cool. He come back. Now he has the Yordenis Ugas unification match. Another huge opportunity after Yordenis Ugas beats Manny Pacquiao as an underdog. Another huge opportunity for Errol Spence. And this time is for 3 belts. WBA, IBF, and the WBC unification match. After this is only 1 fight left for Undisputed. Remember, it was so many people calling for Terence Crawford to get the Ugas fight. Now look, correct me if I'm wrong. In the chat, let me know, did you see a mass amount of people saying that while Errol Spence was sitting on the back burner, it was so many people saying Terence Crawford should fight Yordenis Ugas. We should have Crawford versus Ugas. It was so many people saying that. Why? Because they wanted Terence Crawford to get that WBA belt. They wanted him to have the unification match. They just didn't want Errol Spence to have that shit, right? But now that Errol Spence got the fight, everybody's saying Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford because he's fighting in a unification match. Do you see the double standards and the malarkey and the bullshit and just all of these mental gymnastics? Do you see all the misdirection? Do you see all the misdirection? These same people were begging. They like, no, let Terence Crawford fight Ugas. You know what I'm saying? Let Terence Crawford get Ugas while Earl fight Manny Pacquiao so he can be you. But now Errol Spence fighting Ugas, oh, it's a cherry pick. It's a duck. Even though it's a unification match, you can't become undisputed if you don't have all the belts. We ain't on that Cambosis and Telefimo Lopez shit. We ain't trying to claim fake Undisputed over here. We want the real deal. Shout out to Jamel Charlo and Brian Castano. We want the real deal. We don't want that fugazi shit. We don't want that bullshit. I can't look myself in the mirror if I'm calling a motherfucker undisputed, and I know he ain't really undisputed. So in order for Errol Spence to achieve his ultimate goal at welterweight, which is becoming undisputed champion of the world, he gotta see Yordenis Ugas. Some of these dudes hate Spence more than they like Crawford. Facts. That's a fact. Knockout boxing. That's a fact. In order for Errol Spence to become undisputed, he gotta see Yordenis Ugas. So how can you criticize him for fighting Yordenis Ugas, which again, this is what he said he was gonna do the whole time. The man said, I'm gonna fight this guy, this guy, this guy. I wanna get all these belts on my side, and then I'm gonna go take Terence Crawford belt. He didn't say, maybe I'll go fight Terence. He said, and then I'm gonna go take Terence Crawford belt. I got numerous clips and videos of Errol Spence saying those exact words. Peep the Instagram if you ain't following the Instagram. I uploaded it. Shout out to the brother Ricky Williams Boxing in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said, man, look, funny how people can see Maul and Tank moving funny. They're ducks, but Bud being doing the same thing, been doing the same damn thing, and he not a duck. That's a fact. That's a fact. I wouldn't even go that route. I would go the Canelo route with that. I wouldn't even go that route. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even go that route. I'd take that to the Canelo route. You feel me? I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't call Tank no duck. I wouldn't call Terence Crawford no duck. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Charlo, I really don't know what he got going on. I don't really know what's in his heart like that. But, you know, I already spoke on that. You feel me? But I see your point, though. You feel me? I see your point. But it's crazy how Errol Spence is going. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Right? Now, another thing we got to speak on. I keep hearing this, oh, you know, the whole side of the street shit was created by Errol Spence. That is a lie. That has been proven already. That shit has been debunked already. Can somebody in the chat tell me who the first person they heard come up with the side of the street shit? Well, not even really what you heard, because you might have heard Errol Spence say it first, but if you did your research, you know where it came from. Who the first person online, on video, that came up with the side of the street shit? Who the first person that came up with that shit? Come on now, I gotta pull up on y'all, man. I gotta pull up on y'all, man. Thank you. Tim motherfucking Bradley. Thank you. See, a lot of these motherfuckers ain't did their research. Tim Bradley he was interviewed, and he said the reason he didn't fight Errol Spence, remember, he was supposed to fight Errol Spence. That fight got mandated. Errol Spence versus Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley ducked Errol Spence blatantly. His excuse was that he was on different sides of the street. That's where Errol Spence got it from. Tim Bradley said, when has Al Heyman and Bob Arum and Top Rank and PBC, when have they been doing business? This is Tim Bradley. Till this day, he's a company man for ESPN. He was an ESPN and Top Rank fighter, well, HBO at the time, but Top Rank, he was a Top Rank fighter, and to this day, he's a Top Rank / ESPN company man. This guy's still currently on the payroll. And he told you this before Errol Spence even mentioned the side of the street shit. So that's another lie. Motherfucker said Errol Spence came up with the side of the street shit, but that's a lie. Tim Bradley told you the side of the street exists. Okay, here's another thing. And shout out to everybody that's coming in. If I ain't shouted you out, man, look, I'm cooking right now. Y'all bear with me, I'm cooking. I'm hot. I'm on the road. My shit hitting right now. You feel? My shit hitting right now. I'm on the road. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother that guy George in the super chat coming through and showing love. He said, what do you think of all the YouTubers still saying and making videos Errol Spence is a duck? We gonna get into it. Shout out to the Queen Boxiana, the menace in the building. What's good? Appreciate you for pulling up. We gonna get into it. But you see the lies and the misdirection and the double standards. Tim Bradley is the one that created the whole side of the street shit. That's where Errol Spence got it from. He just playing off of the words of a prime ESPN and top ranked company man who's currently still on the payroll. Because that's the reason that's the reason that Tim Bradley gave for him not fighting Errol Spence. So he like, okay, this the side of the street. This what y'all calling it. That's what it is. That's one thing. So that's one lie that's already been debunked. You still got motherfuckers on YouTube to this day running with that narrative when that shit already been exposed. It's already been debunked and exposed, right? But they still running with that narrative. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is Terence Crawford already came out and told you that Bob Arum was the reason we couldn't make the fight. Terence Crawford came out and said Bob Arum is the reason that we couldn't make the fight. He said, why would I stay with Bob Arum if he couldn't get me the Errol Spence fight? Bob Arum is the same one who blocked the Manny Pacquiao fight. He kept Manny Pacquiao away from Terence Crawford. All I'm doing, we gonna get to the nitty gritty. We gonna get to the topic of discussion, but I gotta lay this shit out, man, because I've been hearing too much bullshit on this motherfucking internet. I've been hearing too much bullshit on this YouTube, bro, and this shit getting out of hand now. This shit getting out of hand. I've been hearing too much bullshit. This shit getting too far out of hand, bro. It's too many lies and too much misdirection. Now you see how Errol Spence got a unification match coming up with Yordenis Ugas, an opportunity that most Terence Crawford fans wish they had. They wish he had this opportunity. If it was Terence Crawford versus Yordenis Ugas right now, none of them motherfuckers would be saying anything. They'll be bigging up Terence Crawford about how he about to collect another belt. Shout out to the brother 704 Joe in the building. What's good? Dallas, Texas in the building. You already know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? They'll be bigging up Terence Crawford right now talking about how he about to collect another belt. But because it's Errol Spence getting the opportunity and it's 3 belts on the line, now it's a problem. Now Errol Spence a duck. You see the Fight Hype interview with Errol Spence. You know, Errol Spence, he just up there cool and he told y'all, bruh. What y'all want me to do? Y'all want me... Why I'm going to talk about Terence Crawford right now when I got a world champion in front of me right now? I'm on my motherfucking mission. I'm trying to be undisputed. It's strap season. Fuck I need to be talking about Terence Crawford for. I got to get past Yordenis Ugas. I got to beat that man first. If I don't beat him, ain't no motherfucking undisputed. If I don't beat him, ain't no Spence versus Crawford. Fuck y'all talking about. Everybody want Errol Spence in the middle of his training camp for Yordenis Ugas. We got less than a month away from the fight. April 16th is going down. You know what I'm saying? Arlington, Texas, DFW, Cowboys Stadium, Jerry World is going down. You feel me? Make sure you get the pay-per-view. If you're in the city and you planning on pulling up to the city, pull up to the fight. You know what I'm saying? If you just gonna pull up to the city and just join the festivities, you feel me, or whatever you gonna do, man, pull up is going down. You know what I mean? The biggest event of the year. Give a fuck who else got anything going on up until this point at least. You know, hopefully we get, you know, what we really want later on this year, but we gonna talk about that too. You feel me? But what you expect Errol Spence to say? Why would he go in depth about making a Terence Crawford? He got Yordenis Ugas in front of him right now. Y'all seen what happened to Chris Colbert? Chris Colbert talking about, he doing interviews before his fight talking about, I'll whoop Shakur Stevenson ass. Yeah, I'm the A-side in the Shakur Stevenson fight. Yeah, he can't fuck with me. He know what I did to him in sparring. Then you go out there and get your ass whooped by a replacement fighter. Errol Spence moving like a champion, bro. He moving how he's supposed to move. What the fuck I'ma talk about a Jerron Boots Ennis fight or a Terence Crawford fight? I might give you a little bit here and there, if you asking me these questions. But I'm not finna go in depth. We'll see. Number one, I gotta beat Yordenis Ugas. Fuck is you talking about? Ain't no Chris Colbert syndrome around this motherfucker, man. We trying to get to it. That's how he moving. And you gotta respect it. If you don't respect that, you ain't no real boxing fan. Period. If you don't respect a fighter who has a unification match in less than a month, focusing on that as opposed to talking about some other shit that ain't even set in stone, if you can't respect that, you ain't no real boxing fan. Y'all hit that like button for your boy. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody pulling up. You feel me? If I haven't already shouted you out, man, hey, salute. I appreciate y'all pulling up. What's good? Shout out to the queen, Simply Amira J in the building. What's happening? Always good to see you, man. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother Smooth Groove Boxing in the super chat coming through and showing love. He said shout out from Oak Cliff. Hey, shout out to Oak Cliff, Texas 100, man. I fuck with Oak Cliff. Heavy. You know what I'm saying? I got family from Oak Cliff. Heavy. You dig what I'm saying? Say hope to see you at the fights, cuz. Hey, man, salute to you, my brother. I appreciate you for pulling up. What's good? You feel me? Say you got clearing that glass. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I usually don't endorse because they ain't send me no check, but this some new shit. You know what I'm saying? This some new shit a nigga fucking with. You know what I mean? This some new shit right here, you feel me? Son slight. I'm just sipping on something cool, man. I ain't going crazy. I'm just sipping on something cool. But look, you see the double standards and you see the misdirection. I just had to cook on this shit. Now that we done laid all that out on the table, right? Think about this. Most of these YouTube channels, most of these media outlets, you see that there's an agenda. Whether it's a YouTube channel, a boxing forum, whether it's Ring TV, boxing scene, you look at the comments, you look at the people that's actually creating the content, that's writing the articles, just look at the landscape of things, right? You look at the landscape of things, right? Now, what's the main narrative that they pushing? They saying Errol Spence is ducking Terence Crawford, right? Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford. That's the whole narrative that they pushing. Don't this shit sound familiar? Don't this shit sound familiar? Now look, don't focus on the names. Don't focus on who's Floyd Mayweather, who's Manny Pacquiao. But don't this shit sound familiar? Remember, there was a whole 5-year period. There was a whole campaign on Floyd Mayweather ducking Manny Pacquiao. Don't this shit sound familiar? Haven't y'all seen this shit before? Don't worry about the names. Don't try to compare Errol Spence to Floyd or Manny or Terence Crawford to Floyd or Manny. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on that. Just focus on the situation. Haven't you seen this before? Now, these people got their whole YouTube channel, their whole website. They got everything that's geared around Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford. Motherfuckers don't get no views on their YouTube channel unless they talk about Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford. Unless they talking about an Errol Spence, they saying something negative about Errol Spence, they not getting no YouTube, they not getting no views. Don't this shit sound familiar from when these motherfuckers was talking about Floyd Mayweather was ducking Manny Pacquiao, right? They built their whole, shout out to the brother Tex Rock, they built their whole YouTube channel on this shit. They built their whole existence. Let me go back to my brother. I miss my brother Jay Harris Too Real. Shout out to the brother Jay Harris Too Real in the super chat coming through and showing love. He said, I love Bud, but I hate some of his fans. EJ moving just like he said he would. I'm glad he's not looking past Ugas. Big facts. with that being said, he's stopping Ugas. Hey, I think the same thing, bro. The closer and closer we get to that fight, I think Errol Spence finna put the motherfucking Dr. Dre beats on Yordenis Ugas, and it's finna be bad for him. It's finna be bad for him, bro. And we gonna talk about that too. But hold up. Though. These people, they built their whole existence on Floyd Mayweather ducking Manny Pacquiao. It's so many, before I even had a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? I was watching 78. You feel me? I was watching motherfuckers like Boxing Ego. You know what I'm saying? I was watching motherfuckers like, you know what I mean? Like I was paying attention to what was going on. You feel me? But then it was a whole group of other motherfuckers that was like, their whole existence was Floyd Mayweather ducking Manny Pacquiao. But then when the fight, hold on, let me get to my brother. Shout out to the OG Mr. Munt in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said one of the main narratives is people hinting and hoping EJ is still hurt. A bunch of wishful thinking. Big facts. Big facts. I love that hate though, because I ain't gonna do nothing but make them more disappointed when he go out there and whoop ass on April 16th. But peep this though. Remember when the fight actually got made? Remember when Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao actually got made? The whole narrative changed. The whole narrative changed from Floyd Mayweather ducking Manny Pacquiao to now Manny Pacquiao gonna whoop Floyd Mayweather ass. They changed the whole narrative. Now that the fight actually got made, it went from Floyd is ducking Manny to now Manny gonna whoop Floyd ass, right? It's the same shit they've been saying the whole time, but now they changed the narrative. And then when Floyd went out there and boxed Manny Pacquiao ears off, left him looking left and right, didn't know what the fuck to do. He thought Floyd was just gonna sit there and just let him punch on him and shit. Nah, motherfucker, this boxing. What you thought it was? The same shit that was gonna happen 5, 6, 7 years ago. The same shit that happened. It would have been worse back then. If your ass would have just took the drug test, it would have been worse back then. But after Floyd whooped on Manny Pacquiao ass, what was their argument? The whole Floyd Mayweather ducking Manny Pacquiao argument is gone. It meant nothing. The whole basis of their YouTube channel is gone. The whole reason for your existence is gone. Then the narrative said, like Steven said, then the narrative became Manny was too old, even though Floyd was older than Manny Pacquiao. Shout out to the brother G5 Gabe in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said, keep on cooking, bro. We all we got, big facts. But think about it, bro. After the fight actually got made, and then after Floyd went in there and whooped Manny Pacquiao ass, that whole narrative was gone. The reason for their channel was gone. Their YouTube views, gone. Their subscribers, gone. I don't even see these YouTube channels no more. I promise you, bruh. And shout out to 78. You know, he created a whole community. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to everybody else that's building around that man on like talking real boxing. You know what I mean? Doing this shit with quality and with integrity. You know what I mean? With respect and honor and shit like that. I respect that. You dig what I'm saying? But these other motherfuckers that built their whole career, their whole YouTube channel, their whole existence off of that, I don't even see them no more. They gone. I see the same shit with this ERROL Spence and Terence Crawford shit. It's motherfuckers, I can type in on YouTube. It's guys that got their whole YouTube channel. They don't get no views unless they talking about ERROL Spence ducking Terence Crawford. They don't get no views. The only videos that get views that got ERROL Spence's name in them, and they hate ERROL Spence. It's just a hub. It's a cesspool. It's a hub of negativity and toxicity for motherfuckers to gather around and be motherfucking, you know, morons and idiots and monkeys and shit. It's a hub for toxicity. So now let's ask the question. When the ERROL Spence and the Terence Crawford fight get made, now what? Then what? What's gonna be your argument then? What you gonna make YouTube videos about then? If your whole basis, if your whole existence is about Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford, what the fuck you gonna make YouTube videos about now? When the fight get made, when they announce the fight, it's gonna happen, trust me. It might not be right when you want it. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. But when that motherfucker get made, and trust me, it will. And if it don't, I'll be the first one to come on this bitch and say I was wrong. But I'm telling you, the fight gonna happen. I don't want to hear shit about Terence Crawford was old. I don't want to hear shit about that. Because he ain't took no punishment in the sport. Terence Crawford still sharp, always in shape. That brother do his thing. Shout out to Terence Crawford. I fuck with him heavy. Much respect to Terence Crawford. I don't want to hear shit about him being old. Especially after the shit that Errol Spence done been through. I don't want to hear nothing about Terence Crawford being old when the fight actually happened. But think about this. When the fight actually get made, what the fuck you gonna make YouTube videos about now? Oh, you gonna change the narrative to, well, now the fight is made. Let's break it down. Let's talk about how many ways Terence Crawford can beat Errol Spence. Let's talk about how he can switch. He can fight orthodox and southpaw. But just a month ago, you were saying the fight wasn't gonna happen. A month ago, you were saying Errol Spence was ducking. But when the fight get made, how you gonna get views? Where's your views gonna come from? Where's your subscribers gonna come from if your whole existence is based off of Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford? When the fight get made, then what? What the fuck you gonna do then? Shout out to the brother Teak Sports and Culture and Music in the super chat coming through and showing love. He said narrative is getting ready to change after April 16th. I guarantee. Hey, big homie, when Spence comes knocking on the door, just watch. Hey, big facts. Big facts. Big facts. That's 100. You already know. Hold on. You know the narrative right now is that Errol Spence can't stop nobody. Errol Spence have 2-3 decisions in a row. Now all of a sudden he don't have power. Now all of a sudden they're stopping Yordenis Ugas is out of the fucking question. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the big homie, Blue Blood Sports TV in the building coming through and showing love, man. I appreciate you for pulling up. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Shout out, hey, subscribe to Blue Blood Sports TV if you haven't already. If you ain't, I don't know how. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you not already subscribed to Blue Blood Sports TV, but please do if you haven't already, though. You know what I'm saying? Just do me that favor. I appreciate that. Shout out to my brother Vigilante Kato in the building. What's good? Always nice to have you in the building. You feel what I'm saying, though? Like, they're saying now Errol Spence, he can't get no stoppage. They're making it sound like it's impossible to get a stoppage after having 2 or 3 fights, 2 or 3 decisions in a row versus guys who at that time had never been stopped before. Now all of a sudden, it's out of the question for him to stop anybody now. So what's the narrative gonna be if he go in there and stop Yordenis Ugas? What the fuck they gonna say then? Y'all get what I'm pointing? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? These motherfuckers don't have no legs to stand on whatsoever. They don't have no legs to stand on whatsoever. And that's why any of these motherfuckers that say something about this channel or what we got going on over here, man, that shit don't get no respect. That shit don't get no love because you ain't got no integrity. You don't have no substance. You don't have shit to stand on. Because we got substance over here. We talk about real shit with integrity. You feel me? You don't have that. if your whole existence is built upon, oh, this guy's ducking this guy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this guy, he a bitch. He trash, he this. Whole time the motherfucker out here chasing greatness. You got people talking about Jamal Charlo. I had to come out and say what I had to say about him, but whole time, Errol Spence chasing greatness and you talking shit about him. I don't understand. We talking about a unification match in the division with the most talent. Ain't no division right now in boxing, and probably for the last 5 to 10 years, what division had more talent than the welterweight division? What division had more talent in the welterweight division in the past 5 to 10 years? We talking about when the last time we had a 3-belt unified champion? Since Floyd versus Manny. When the last time you had an undisputed champion? Was Zab Judah, but it was only 3 belts. Even when it was a 4th belt around at that time, but they still called it undisputed. You dig what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers sitting on greatness. They whole existence is built upon sitting on greatness. But I just want to know, when the fight get made, what the fuck you gonna talk about then? How you gonna get YouTube views then? You can't say Errol Spence ducking because the fight made. What you gonna do? Shout out to the brother Black Boxing Kings in that super chat coming through and showing love. I appreciate you for pulling up, my brother. What's good? I just want to know, what you gonna do? Okay, let's take it a step further. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that Errol Spence gonna beat Terence Crawford. Yes, me personally, I have broken down that fight to a motherfucking morsel. I've broken that bitch down every which way possible, thought about all the possible outcomes. And I got Errol Spence beating the dog shit out of Terence Crawford. And you can take and do with that what you motherfucking will. That's you can have your own opinion. I don't have no problems if one of y'all say you think Terence Crawford gonna win. I don't have a problem with that. That's a respectable prediction or opinion. I respect that. But this is what I'm saying though. What's gonna happen if Errol Spence, we already got past the fact that you saying that he ducking Terence Crawford. So when the fight get made, what you gonna say then? Okay, cool. Let's take it a step further. If Errol Spence go out there and beat the fuck out Terence Crawford, what you gonna say? How you gonna make videos? Where your views gonna come from? What's gonna be the next narrative? What's gonna be the next narrative? Shout out to the brother Jay Harris Too Real back in that super chat coming through and showing love. Said, just want to give a shout out to all the familiar faces from all of the real boxing channels in the chat. I love the fact that everybody loves and support each other. Keep cooking up, family. Hey, 100. Hey, that's some real shit you said. And shout out to my brothers No Excuses Boxing in this motherfucker, man. Hey, salute. No Excuses X Levels Boxing, man. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Shout out to my brother D and shout out to my brother Red. You know what I'm saying? 100, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. That's some real shit Jay Harris Too Real just said, man. But look, hold on, look at this. Look at this. Hold on. We have Jamar Fowler, and that's probably his real name. Jamar Fowler. We have Jamar Fowler. Let me take a sip on behalf of your name, motherfucker. Jamar Fowler. He said, the fight ain't made, or it ain't getting made. Now look, let me say this. He is one of the reasons why we have this whole charade going on back and forth. Guys like him, he don't want the fight to get made. He just want this shit to go back and forth, back and forth. He don't want the fight to get made. He want to be able to just come in comments, come to the comment section, you know what I'm saying? Hop in the comment section, you know, and just, he just want to argue with motherfuckers. You think I'm not finna go debate nobody, Cause nobody can make me move off my square. Now I'm willing to have, an educated conversation with motherfuckers who know what they talking about, where we can bounce ideas off each other and talk about some real shit. You feel me? I'm with that. But I'm not finna go argue and debate with no motherfucker because this motherfucker is like people like Jamar Fowler that's fucking this whole shit up. Because they don't want the fight to happen. They want this shit to be like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd for that time period that the fight wasn't happening. So motherfuckers and argue back and forth and shit. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be arguing back and forth about, the fight, this why the fight ain't getting made. Well, no, that's why the fight ain't getting made. Well, look, no, this what happened was, let me pull up this article right here. Well, let me show you this video on why no, we ain't on that. We not on that. People like you don't want the fight to get made. You want this shit to be long, drawn out. Shout out to 817 Boxing be in the building. What's good? You want this shit to be long and drawn out so you can keep on arguing with motherfuckers in the comment section and shit. You know what I'm saying? You want motherfuckers to be, be in the comment section arguing and shit. That's what you want. You don't want the fight to get made. Because when the fight get made, your whole existence is gone. Your whole existence is gone. Shout out to the brother Pray for Creasy in the building. What's good? The whole reason for your existence is it don't even matter no more. You want this shit to continue on for 5 more years. That's what you want. You don't want to see the fight. See, us over here, we want to see ERROL Spence versus Terence Crawford. We want to see that fight. And we want to see Undisputed. Which is why we bigging up the ERROL Spence versus Yordenis Ugas fight, because we know that got to happen first. We know that got to happen. We want to see the fight. You feel me? I don't want to get on this motherfucking arguing back and forth with motherfuckers talking about, well, this the reason the fight ain't happen. Well, that's the reason. Fuck all that. The fight gonna happen, and when it happen, what you gonna do? What you gonna do then? What you gonna do? Are you even gonna watch boxing anymore? Don't y'all know it's so many quote unquote boxing fans that after the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd situation, those guys, they don't even watch boxing no more. It's so many people that was only following boxing for the whole drama and saga of Mayweather versus Pacquiao. It's so many of those people, they don't even watch boxing no more. They don't even watch boxing no more. Because that's what they was living for. That's it. So after ERROL Spence and Terence Crawford fight, what's next? What's next? Shout out to the Queen Simply Amira J in Super Chat, coming through and showing love 100. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that. Said haters trying to pit us against each other, but we can, like both brothers, beat up others. Big facts. Y'all know, man, look. See, this the thing. Like, when you come over here, when I talk about Terence Crawford, look at my pound for pound list. I have my latest pound for pound list. I have Terence Crawford rated higher than ERROL Spence. Now, I've also explained that just because you rated higher on the pound for pound list, that don't mean you're technically the best fighter in your division. I think ERROL Spence is the best welterweight, but I think Terence Crawford, in my opinion, should be rated higher at this moment. And when I talk about Terence Crawford, see, I give him his respect because I see the type of fighter he is. When I break down a Terence Crawford fight, I don't take no shorts. Like, I give him everything that he deserves. I talk about Terence Crawford for what the fuck he is. It's respect there. And I support Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford is fighting goddamn whoever the fuck, I'm rooting for Terence Crawford. If that motherfucker ain't black, I'm gonna be honest with you. If Terence Crawford fighting anybody that ain't black, I'm rooting for Terence Crawford, period. I don't give a fuck who he is. If they said Terence Crawford was finna fight Canelo tomorrow, I'm picking Terence Crawford. Give a fuck what you talking about. But at the same time, I'm going to keep it real. You feel me? I'm going to be honest. You don't have to tear down one fighter to build up the next one, especially when you're talking about two brothers. You dig what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But see, that's why we have integrity over here, because our existence ain't built off of, let's tear this motherfucker down. That ain't what we doing over here. That ain't what we doing over here. You feel me? That just ain't what we doing over here. I'm going to be honest with you. If you thought that's what we was doing over here, you sadly mistaken. That ain't what we doing. Yeah, I think ERROL Spence he gonna beat the motherfucking, I think he gonna put all type of body limbs on Terence Crawford. It's gonna be bad in there. I think it's a bad stylistic matchup for Terence Crawford. Now, you see, when I talk about that fight, and I made in-depth, multiple videos telling you why I think ERROL Spence gonna beat Terence Crawford. So it ain't coming from no place of hate. I don't have no disdain towards Terence Crawford. I don't have no bad feelings towards Terence Crawford. I want him to be as successful as one could ever be. I don't have no bad feelings or nothing towards Terence Crawford or nothing he got going on. But I give you reasons. I done broke down many times on why I'm telling you ERROL Spence is gonna whoop his ass. That's just what the fuck I think gonna happen. You feel me? And that's just what that is. So if motherfuckers want to say, hey, let's talk about that. Why you think Terence Crawford gonna win, or why you think ERROL Spence gonna win? I'm with that type of shit, but I ain't finna go back and forth with no motherfucker about, man, who I think he ducking, all this shit. Cause when the fight get made, then what you gonna talk about? Because I seen this before. This shit happened with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. 5-6 years, people building their whole channel, getting 30,000 subscribers, 40,000 subscribers. Motherfuckers built their whole YouTube channel off of Floyd Mayweather ducking Manny Pacquiao. Then when the fight get made, they change their whole tune. They saying now Manny Pacquiao, he caught him when he was old. Then when the fight actually happened and Floyd won, they delete their YouTube channel. Or they start talking about Animal Planet and shit. Motherfuckers start talking about lemurs and goddamn Tasmanian devils and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought this was a boxing channel. Motherfuckers talking about rhinoceros and shit like that. What the fuck? I thought this was about boxing. Motherfuckers making videos about elephants and shit. Come on, bro. Where they do that at, dog? So I just want to see when the whole ERROL Spence and Terence Crawford shit shake out. I just want to see if motherfuckers gonna keep that same energy. That's what I want to see. I would just want to see if motherfuckers gonna keep that same energy. When the fight actually get made, if motherfuckers gonna come out and be a man and say, okay, you know what I'm saying, woo woo, the fight made, you know what I'm saying, undisputed, it's up, what's good? Or you gonna move the goalpost and say, well, no, he waited till Terence Crawford was 35. Come on, man. Come on, man. Said the reason why Terence Crawford is dynamic is his ability to make adjustments to another fighter's strength. So for me, this fight is intriguing. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so many reasons why I want to watch this fight, man. Like, look, outside of the obvious stylistic matchup, comparing the skill sets, what each fighter brings to the table, outside of that, just the mere fact that it's two guys with that killer mentality. I think for me, that's the biggest thing. It's a great stylistic matchup. It's a great pairing of styles and tendencies for this fight. But it's the mentality that really get me. It's the fact that I know Terence Crawford ain't finna fold. I know Terence Crawford ain't finna get in that bitch and lay down. No, he gonna go crazy. If you hit me, I gotta hit you. When it come down to it, like, we fighting, period. If all else fails, I'ma die in this motherfucker. I'm willing to go. And I know ERROL Spence got that same mentality too. For me, that's the biggest aspect of this fight. That's the most intriguing aspect of this fight. Two dominant individuals, two dominant fighters, both skillfully and mentally. Both very intelligent, both good at what they do. Man, this shit gonna be something, man. I'm very excited about that fight. And I truly believe that fight is gonna happen. I truly believe that fight gonna happen, man. You know, I tell y'all all the time, man, sometimes I be daydreaming sometimes, like, damn, like, what the press conference gonna look like. Not even about like them talking shit to each other and nothing like that. Just actually envisioning them on stage together, like, damn, this shit real. Like, this shit really finna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, seeing them motherfuckers do a face-off, like, damn, this shit real. Like, that shit, that's the type of shit I'm excited about. And then just the fact that the fight itself is a hell of a fight, bruh, for all the marbles, for Undisputed, bruh. Like, it's astronomical, dog. Like, this shit is crazy, bruh. Like, this some real heavy shit. Like, this the closest that we get to a Floyd versus Manny or Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hagler. You know what I'm saying? Like, this the closest we gonna get to something like that, bruh. Being real. This the closest we gonna get to any of that old school legendary shit that motherfuckers used to watch in black and white, or some shit that, you know, a lot of these motherfuckers in here ain't ever even seen. You know what I'm saying? Including myself. It's some shit that I can't even go back far enough to be like, damn, I witnessed that shit live. You feel me? Like, that's the type of shit this is, bro. It's a very intriguing fight, bro. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that fight just as much as anybody, dog. Shout out to the brother Jay Harris, too. Real back in that super chat, coming through and showing love, man. 100, he said, Terence Crawford's adjustments are simply just turning up his pressure. We talked about that too. EJ is a bigger dog than Bud, so that shit is going to get Bud ass stopped. Y'all just wait and see. I like that, Jay Harris. I like that, bro. I like that. I've said that too, man, where with Terence Crawford, I think he does have the ability to make adjustments, like, technically, as does ERROL Spence as well. You know, people say ERROL Spence don't make adjustments when his shit is so subtle. It's small things. It could be something as small as raising the rate of the jab, or showing a different angle of the jab, you know, or stepping to the left on the inside a little bit more than you was in the first 4 or 5 rounds, just to kind of create a different angle so you can land an overhand left, or so you can land a right uppercut. You know what I mean? It's small shit like that, but people don't really pay attention to the small things. They want to see something that's glaring in their face, like Terence Crawford switching from orthodox to southpaw. Oh, what an adjustment. But what it is, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's Terence Crawford, what he does is just, like the brother said, he raised the level of intensity. And that, you got it, that is an adjustment. It's really flipping a switch. You know, it's not necessarily a technical adjustment, but he's flipping a switch. He's saying, okay, this motherfucker I'm trying to box and just have an easy fight, but he don't want me to have an easy fight. And now he's getting annoying, so I'm finna turn this motherfucker up and I'm finna fight him. Now let's see if he can match my intensity. Let's see if he can match me at my full strength. Let's see if he can match me in my final form. You dig what I'm saying? On some Dragon Ball Z shit. You know, Terence Crawford turned into Super Saiyan on their ass. Like, now let's see if you can match me when I'm on these levels. And what we've seen in the past is that his opponents simply just they weren't able to do that. They just simply couldn't do that. And that's another reason why I love the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford fight so much, is because when Terence Crawford turn it up, Errol Spence can turn it up. When Terence Crawford go to another level, Errol Spence can go to another level. And think about it, y'all. Everybody get caught up on the skills. They both got skills. That's not, fuck that. They wouldn't be where they at right now if they didn't have the skills. It's the mentality. When Terence Crawford turn it up, it's the mentality. It's him saying, I'm finna go for the gusto. I don't give a fuck if you hit me with your best shot. I don't give a fuck if in the midst of the exchange I get caught with something. I am finna fight. I'ma go for the gusto. I'm finna whoop your ass. Errol Spence got the same mentality. When he chooses to say, all right, fuck it, I'm finna turn it. In the Sean Porter fight, you know, I didn't feel like Errol Spence was at his best in that fight. No excuses, though. I just felt like when I did my post-fight reaction, I told y'all how I felt about that fight. I felt like he was lethargic physically. At the weigh-in, he looked frail and shit. I just didn't think he was at his best, but no excuses. That's just, I'm putting that out there. The reason I bring that up is because when the fight was close, what was that, the 10th or the 11th round, he knew that the shit was close. He went out there and said, bro, I gotta make something happen. And I saw him lining up that left hook. I saw him lining that bitch up. He put his right hand over Sean Porter's head and lined his ass up. He was going forward and fighting with a certain level of intensity, like, bruh, I'm not losing this fight, dog. I'm not losing this fight, bro. I don't give a fuck what happened up until this point. I'm not fucking losing this fight. I got to do something to pull this shit out, bro. I seen him do it in the Kell Brook fight. Overseas in that man's hometown. When shit looked dire. Going into the 7th round, I had it tied 3-3, but Kell Brook, in my opinion, he had momentum. But Errol Spence made small adjustments. You know, feinting instead of just going full force with the jab. He started feinting with the jab and then coming behind that bitch with the straight left. He started throwing the jab straight left. Instead of just, you know, coming forward with that bitch, he'll feint first, get Kell Brook to react, because Kell Brook was so quick with countering over Errol Spence's jab. Him being a southpaw and Kell Brook being orthodox, his jab was just like Yordenis Ugas does. Counters over the jab. That's what Kell Brook was doing the whole time. So what Errol Spence started to do, instead of just going straight out with the jab, he'll feint first and then let Kell Brook overexpose himself. Then he'll throw his jab in the straight left. Small adjustments. People don't notice that, though. They just said, oh, Errol Spence just came forward and he just kept pressing and kept pressing and kept pressing and he got the stoppage. No, it's more that goes into that shit. But if you ain't paying attention, you're not going to fucking notice it. You know what I'm saying? But again, he took it to another level. It's not so much the skills, because they got skills, but it's the mentality. It's the wherewithal. It's the understanding to say, look, no, bro, this shit ain't going how I want it to go. Let me take it up a notch. So that's what make that fight intriguing, because I know when Terence Crawford raised the level, I know Errol Spence can raise the level. When Errol Spence raised the level, I know Terence Crawford can raise the level. That's what make that shit so intriguing. Shout out to the OG Mr. Munt in that super chat coming through and showing love. He said, I think once they get in the ring, Bud will have to start fighting earlier than he used to against someone who doesn't lose composure, unlike Sean Porter. Big facts. That's going to be another interesting aspect of that fight, because we all know, you know, we've talked about this in Terence Crawford's recent fights, how he starts slow. You know, he liked to take time and kind of allow shit to come to him, which that's actually worked in his favor with him being a master counterpuncher. Terence Crawford is an extremely sharp counterpuncher. He's turned into something like a sharpshooter slash knockout artist now. He don't really do a whole lot of moving. His punch output is not really crazy. His punch output has actually come down. But what he does is just he works smarter, not harder. You know what I'm saying? So he allowed guys to kind of, overexert themselves, overexpose. He sit back, you know what I'm saying? And he just pick for the right shot. You know what I'm saying? He pick for the right shots. You feel me? He sit back, he wait, he pick for the right shots. You know what I'm saying? And he's been doing that shit for a minute now. You know what I mean? Since he's been at welterweight and it's been working. His accuracy has been on point, and that power, it's been there. So with Errol Spence though, I think he's gonna pull something. And Derrick James, shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV again, because in the Derrick James interview, I don't think they were necessarily talking about Spence and Crawford, but he said he was talking about Jermell Charlo. But I read between the lines, so you got to be able to read between the lines. I read between the lines where Derrick James was really like giving you insight on how he coaches his guys. We know that he coached Jermell Charlo. We know that he coached Frank Martin. We know that he coached Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, well, what you gonna do when a motherfucker on your ass, all that boxing, that shit like low-key go out the window. When a motherfucker really on your ass like that, that's how he coaches guys. Yeah, he teaches guys to box too. We know that Jermell can box. We know that Errol Spence can box. But he teaches them intelligent pressure. You feel what I'm saying? So with Terence Crawford, I think Errol Spence is going to pull something. He going to make Terence Crawford work harder than he's had to work in any of his recent fights. He's not going to be able to sit back and just pot shot Errol Spence and think, oh, I'm going to just run him I'm going to keep throwing this same left hook. I'm going to fight from southpaw. Number one, he fight from southpaw. He going to get his ass whooped. But I know that's his best stance to fight in. But we ain't talking about that. He's not going to be able to just sit back and try to time Errol Spence with the left uppercut all night like he did Sean Porter. Errol Spence is way smarter than that. The pressure is way more intelligent and calculated and strategic. He gonna make Terence Crawford work harder than he's ever had to work in his whole career in that fight, especially in recent years. From round one, Errol Spence is jumping that bitch off, controlling the pace of the fight. From round one, yes. From round one with the jab, educated pressure, he's gonna control it with physicality, determination. He gonna control the pace of the fight from round one. All that, I'ma just sit back and wait, and I'ma just time him with the left uppercut. I'ma just let him run in and boom, hit him with the right shot. No, that shit ain't. You might land one or two of them. You might land one or two, maybe at the right time, maybe not at the right time. But I'm telling you like this. What's gonna happen when he hit Earl with one of them bitches? And Earl don't show no type, he don't respond to it at all. What's gonna happen when he land one of those, his kill shots that he normally land on these other guys, and Errol Spence don't respond to it? Terence Crawford gonna have to work harder than he's ever had to work in his whole career in that fight with Errol Spence. He's not going to be able to just sit back the first 4 or 5 rounds and just pot shot and box. It's going to be too much pressure on him. It's going to be too much physicality burling down on him. It's going to be too much skill, too many jabs, too many straight lefts, too many overhand lefts, too many clinches, and you're not going to be able to hold Errol Spence. Kell Brook couldn't even hold him. When Earl get in the motherfucking trenches with Terence Crawford now, I don't give a fuck how many wrestling matches he had back in when he was young and shit. I don't give a fuck how many high school wrestling tournaments Terence Crawford won. He not going to be able to hold Errol Spence. He not going to be able to hold him. Errol Spence going to always have a hand free. And Errol Spence is going to be welling away on his ass. Every time he get on the inside, Errol Spence welling away. And soon as the ref break him up, Errol Spence back on the jab. He back on the jab. Soon as the ref break him up, he back on the jab. You not going to have, he going to be on that motherfucking ass like back pockets. Terence Crawford going to have to work harder than he ever had to work in his whole career in that fight. And I'm going to tell you like this. I've been saying this. I've been consistent with this. And I'm not going to move off my square, period. You know, I listen to motherfuckers that say, you know, that they got other thoughts and shit, because it's always good to like hear other people's point of view. But I'm not going to move off this square. Terence Crawford, his only chance is to hit Errol Spence with some shit that he don't see and stop him. That's his only chance. The fight can go three ways. Terence Crawford knocks out Errol Spence, or Errol Spence knocks out Terence Crawford with accumulation of ass whooping, maybe even one shot. I've seen him hurt by one shot before. Or Errol Spence is just going to win a unanimous decision just based off of work rate. Just based off of work rate, controlling the fight, muddying shit up, making it dirty. You know what I'm saying? Out physicaling Terence Crawford, if that's even a motherfucking word. We making up words today. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Out physicaling Terence Crawford ass. You know, just dominating him every which way. The judge is going to look at Errol Spence work and say, nah, that motherfucker, like, he landed all these jabs. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, he on his ass. You know what I'm saying? He controlling the pace of the fight. He the one making the fight. Terence Crawford throwing, you know, counter punches here, few and far in between. But Errol Spence, he throwing 800 to 1,000 punches. He the one coming forward. How the fuck Terence Crawford gonna win a decision? The only way he winning the decision is he gonna have to channel his inner Floyd Mayweather on that night. And even that I don't think gonna be able to help him. Shout out to the brother Eclectic Agitator in the building. What's good? How the fuck Terence Crawford gonna win a decision? I still ain't had nobody tell me how Terence Crawford gonna win a decision. Terence Crawford, and when I look, see another thing. When I say Terence Crawford only got a puncher's chance, hold on. Like the brother said, and even EJ gave Floyd that work too. Facts. So look, when I say Terence Crawford got a puncher's chance, people think I'm shitting on Terence Crawford. People think, because they not analyzing the situation. They haven't went as far in depth as I went in breaking the fight down. They only looking at it from a surface level. They think I'm being disrespectful or spiteful to Terence Crawford when I say that he only has a puncher's chance because of the level of skill that he has. I understand the level of skill Terence Crawford got. I know that motherfucker cold. I know what Terence Crawford can do. I've been watching him since he been in the game. I know what he can do. But if you go as far as I went into this shit and you really pay attention, ain't no way Terence Crawford winning no decision. If he fight Terence Crawford the same way that he fought Sean Porter and Kell Brook, remember Kell Brook was busting his ass with the jab up until Kell Brook got stopped. But we ain't gonna talk about that. You know. Kell Brook orthodox, he had to switch to southpaw plus Kell Brook drain and chinny. We ain't gonna talk about that though. But just see, it's the small things. Look at the jab. Look at the jab, Kell Brook with a way shorter reach than Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. But the jab from an orthodox stance was getting in there, was popping Terence Crawford head back. I had Kell Brook winning the first 2 rounds. But we're not talking about that though. I'm just saying it's shit that you gotta pay attention to. There is no way that Terence Crawford is about to go in there and outbox Errol Spence. It's not happening. It's just not gonna happen. He's not gonna win a decision. I promise you. I would be willing to bet any amount of money, not even on the outcome of the fight itself as far as who gonna win. I would put the house that Terence Crawford don't win a decision. I bet anybody on that shit. That shit not happening, bruh. Terence Crawford gonna have to hurt Errol Spence. He gonna have to stop Errol Spence. That's literally the only way. He only got a puncher's chance. Errol Spence's work rate is too constant and crazy. So when I say Terence Crawford only got a puncher's chance, don't take it as no disrespect, because I know what Terence Crawford can do. Said Bud didn't need to box anybody at 147. He fought mainly pressure fighters. All right, Errol Spence is a pressure fighter. Okay. I'm just saying, Terence Crawford been boxing. He boxed Sean Porter, but he was pot shot. You know, his work rate was very low in that fight. He was pot shotting. You know, but I thought Terence Crawford had a good game plan. Whatever he was doing, it evidently it worked. You know what I'm saying? But you say he haven't had to box nobody, and he only fought pressure fighters. Well, I mean, Errol Spence is probably the most elite pressure. Like, can anybody name at welterweight? Can anybody name a better pressure fighter than Errol Spence? At welterweight, I think top 3 Errol Spence is a top 3 pressure fighter in boxing. I think you have to put Canelo in there for sure. You know what I'm saying? I think Errol Spence is top 1, top 2 pressure fighter in the sport of boxing right now. When it comes to applying intelligent, relentless, unlimited pressure with head movement, defense, with feints, with high ring IQ, with physical presence and physicality. Terence Crawford ain't seen nothing like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, Errol Spence ain't fought nobody like Terence Crawford neither. I will admit that. But I believe stylistically, it favors Errol Spence. I really don't see what Terence Crawford, outside of knocking Errol Spence out, which is possible. Don't get it fucked up. Out of all the shit I just said, remember this. Terence Crawford can knock out Errol Spence. He can. It's possible. That's the only way he can win, though. If he don't knock out Errol Spence, he's not winning the fight. He either gonna get stopped or he gonna lose on the cards. Trust me. So the only way Earl will beat Bud is if he can turn this fight into an inside fight. That's exactly what he gonna do. That's exactly what he gonna do. Terence Crawford with them long ass arms, he can't fuck with Errol Spence on the inside. Errol Spence is better at cutting the ring off in boxing than any fighter in the sport. Said he's the superior inside fighter with frames, pin guards, manipulation, head control. Facts. Big facts. Tex Rock. Shout out to my brother Tex Rock. That's a real, he a boxing fan in general. He fuck with Earl and he fuck with Terence Crawford. But he obviously picking Terence Crawford in this matchup. And look, and he always come with very intelligent responses and reasoning behind why he think what he think. I respect that 100%. You know what I'm saying? And what you just said there, if Errol Spence make it an inside fight, that's exactly what he's gonna do. That's exactly what he's gonna do. Can y'all think about this? Let's be honest. Based off of Terence Crawford's last 5 or 6 performances, can any of you, like even the Terence Crawford fans, I'm a Terence Crawford fan, right? But even let's just say the guys that's picking Terence Crawford in that fight. Shout out to the brother Skinny Too Litty. So if you picking Terence Crawford in that fight and everybody else, can you really picture Terence Crawford moving around the ring and just outboxing Errol Spence, making him look bewildered and like, oh my God, where did he go? Can you even imagine that shit? Like, let's be real. Can you imagine that shit? Like, real talk. Can you actually imagine that shit? I think Errol Spence ain't gonna have too much of a problem cutting the ring off. He said, you tripping, you naming attributes that Spence don't have. What attributes did I name that Spence don't have? Let me know. He said, who sold the world? Talk to me, brother. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I don't see that happening. But how am I naming attributes that what attribute did I name that I say Errol Spence has that he don't have? Please tell me. I'm open. I'm willing to talk to you about that. Said the check, hook, and pivot game will be there. I agree with your text, right? That is something that I am genuinely worried about. Terence Crawford's ability, because he's very athletic and very quick with it. You know what I'm saying? So, from the southpaw stance, he hit your ass with that check right hook and move out the way, and then he could turn around and counter you with a left uppercut. He cold with that. You know what I'm saying? But see, Errol Spence pivot game crazy too. You know what I'm saying? Again, I just want to reiterate. I'm not saying that Terence Crawford can't win. I'm just saying I don't see him outboxing Errol Spence. I don't. I think Errol Spence gonna cut that ring off and get it and put Terence Crawford in a position, where it's either fight or flight. Nigga, either you gonna fight or you gonna fold. But hold on, no, we not finna get off that. I want the brother to tell me, says Spence ain't slick and don't have head movement. Spence, hold on. Do y'all hear what that brother just said? He said Spence ain't slick and don't have head movement. Brother, did you watch the Danny Garcia fight? What's his name again? Let me go back. Man who sold the world. That name is kind of interesting too. You selling right now. You big selling. Did you watch the Danny Garcia fight? The brother came forward with head movement. Bruh, Danny couldn't land none of them big ass left hooks. Errol Spence came forward with head movement. I keep trying to do the southpaw shit, but fuck it, I'm orthodox. You know what I'm saying? My man Earl came forward with head movement out countering the counterpuncher. One of the best counterpunchers. You can say Danny ain't no elite welterweight and he ain't this shit. You can say all that. Danny Garcia, at that time, was one of the best counterpunchers in the sport of boxing, especially at welterweight. That's what he made his bones off of, his counterpunching. Errol Spence came forward with head movement. That's the best I've ever seen Errol Spence's head movement in the Danny Garcia fight. How Errol Spence don't got head movement? That's crazy. I think, brother, you need to do a little bit more film study, man. You got to do a little bit more film study, man. Go back and watch the Ronald Cruz fight. Earl came on a straight line and he said Earl come on a straight line and is a volume puncher. Earl, a flat-footed fighter, prime Bud would have embarrassed Spence, but this 35-year-old version of Bud will stop. Oh man, now Bud ain't in his prime no more. He already setting up excuses. All right, look. So here's another like fallacy or myth that has to be debunked. Shout out to Virgil Ortiz and his father. I saw a clip on Ellie Setback's ES News on YouTube where he was interviewing Virgil Ortiz and Virgil Ortiz's father. If y'all don't know Virgil Ortiz, he's from Grand Prairie, Texas. That's right here in the DFW. You know what I'm saying? That Grand Prairie shit 10, 15 minutes from my crib. You know what I mean? And Virgil Ortiz actually grew up in the same gym that Errol Spence came up in as a youngster before he like really started, getting into like in the high rank amateurs and then going into the Olympics and shit like that. He came up in a Mexican gym. You know what I'm saying? And, they talked about how a lot of these guys, they do a whole lot of extra movements for no reason. Derrick James also spoke about this in the interview with Blue Blood Sports TV. A lot of these guys be doing a whole lot of extra feints for no reason and, bouncing on their toes and doing all this extra shit for no reason. All that unnecessary movement, that's bullshit. That's that flashy shit that really don't do nothing for you outside of just being, some flair for the eye. That's all it is. But when you have guys like Virgil Ortiz and guys like Errol Spence, it's fundamental. You don't move unless you fucking have to. You know what I'm saying? You don't move. Ain't none of that unnecessary shit. All that coming on a straight line. Errol Spence move his head when he need to. You know why he gets stronger as the fight goes on? Because he don't waste no punches. He don't waste no movements. Everything is with intention. Everything is meant like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan you don't see Tim Duncan coming down the court doing N1 moves and, doing hot sauce, crossing motherfuckers over and doing all type of behind the back and all this. You don't see that. Tim Duncan focus on the fundamentals. He back your ass down. Everything, the footwork, everything is perfect. Everything fundamental. He do everything right. None of that flashy shit. So to your eyes, Errol Spence is basic. He come on a straight line. But to a motherfucker that know what they watching, they see a guy that is not moving for no apparent reason that's don't make no sense. There's no actual threat or punch that's being thrown or nothing that's forcing him to move. There's nothing that's actually putting him in a position of where he gotta, you see how Mike Tyson, why you think Mike Tyson ass always get tired at the end of every fight? Mike Tyson, every time a fight go past 7 rounds, Mike Tyson ass be tired as fuck. You know why? Because he always doing this. He always constantly moving. That's why he get tired. All that stupid ass moving for no reason. And look, no disrespect to Mike Tyson. I love Mike Tyson. But I'm just saying, when motherfuckers take the fight past 6 rounds, he be getting knocked the fuck out. Or he be getting outboxed and shit. Because he too much wasted movement. You can't do all that shit. You have to be, Errol Spence has been taught fundamentally. He don't waste no punches, don't waste no movements. That's why in the 10th round, when that motherfucker tired, Errol Spence just kicking up. You heard what Kell Brooks said, right? You heard what Danny Garcia said, right? They was like, damn, it's the 10th and 11th round. He's still going crazy. It seemed like he getting stronger. Why you think it feel like that? Because he didn't waste no bullshit ass movement early on in the fight. He wasn't doing that dumb ass shit. Oh, I'm going to move. I'm doing all that. Fuck all that. I'm coming forward. You know what I'm saying? If I got to move, I'm going to move. If I need to feint, I'm going to feint. But one thing that's going to be constant, that jab. I'm popping that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm popping that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I ain't wasting no punches. You say he flat-footed, but what you don't talk about is the pivot game. You don't talk about the pivot game because he always in a position to throw a solid shot. That's why his feet appears to be flat-footed, but really it's the pivot. He working off pivots. Instead of bouncing on his toes and like moving laterally and all this shit, he working out pivots. Everything is a pivot. So he might step this way, boom. You know what I'm saying? Throw some, he might step this way, boom. Throw some, you know what I'm saying? And then instead of moving his whole, instead of having a whole lot of crazy head movement, when somebody throws something, he'll step back. You feel me? Like, people that don't be really paying attention, that's the same people that said Mikey Garcia was gonna outbox Errol Spence. Because they said he was basic. He move on a straight line. But then when he get in there, he do the same shit he been doing, but just on another level. Now they like, oh, Errol Spence can actually box. Like, no, he been doing that. Come on, bro. Salute to the brother Rahman Salah Hutton in the building in the super chat, coming through and showing love. I appreciate it, my brother. He said, I like talking to people I can respectfully disagree with. Good show. I'm subscribing. 100, man. I appreciate it, bro. Hey, it's all love over here, dog. You know what I'm saying? I just love to talk boxing, bro. You feel me? So, you know, if you think Terence Crawford gonna win, shit, I fuck with that. Salute. You know what I'm saying? That's 100. Salute to the OG Mr. Munt. Back in that super chat, coming through and showing love. He said, these dudes don't watch boxing. They just watch Bud. Earl has shown us everything in the last four fights. Facts. In the last 4 or 5 fights, Errol Spence has shown multiple styles. He's shown that he can fight multiple styles, and he's shown that he can bring a different style to a fight and fight a different way and get the victory. He's shown that time after time after time. You know what I'm saying? So if you watching and you paying attention, you actually see these things. But again, I go back to what I said like about the Kell Brook fight. It's small stuff that people don't pick up on because it's not flashy. Like Virgil Ortiz and his father said. It was really his father talking. He was like, these guys aren't built to be flashy. They're built to go. They're built to do their job. That's what he said. If y'all haven't seen that interview, go to ES News and look up the interview with Virgil Ortiz and his father. His father knows boxing, man. Been in the game for a long time. Virgil Ortiz Sr., man, he said, these guys, they're not built, like guys like Errol Spence, they're not built to be flashy. They're built to fucking go. They're built to do their fucking job. That's what they're built to do. They're not built to be all fancy and slick and all that extra shit. That shit I done seen many a slick motherfuckers get knocked the fuck out because they doing too much. I'd rather have somebody like Errol Spence that I know that's gonna, you know what I'm saying, handle his business. You feel me? I can count on him to listen to the coach, you know, make subtle adjustments when he need to. I can count on him to mentally go deeper than his opponent when it calls for it. I can count on those things. Shout out to the brother Ronald Moore in the super chat, coming through and showing love. He said, Spence real efficient with his work. You can be a pressure fighter while having different dimensions. All his work real subtle, but it's beautiful. And his work, as you said, Tim Duncan gave everybody work. Big facts. Hey, the brother really just broke that shit down. Shout out to you, man. Let me go back to you. Shout out to the brother Ronald Moore, man. Hey, he's really just broke that shit down to a T. He really just broke that shit down to a T. That's what it is. It's very subtle. It's very subtle. It may not be flashy. It may not be the thing that catches your eye, but it's effective. It's effective. And that's what counts. You know what I'm saying? That's what counts. I'd rather have a guy that's going to go in there and get the job done and do that shit how it's supposed to be done than somebody that's going off script doing all this wild shit. Sometimes it might work. Sometimes it might not work. But I know Errol Spence, everything he doing is going to be fundamental. It's going to be the right way you're supposed to do that shit. That's what I would look for. If I was training somebody, I want somebody like that. Shout out to the brother Big Fish, David Dion J in the building. What's good? Hey, salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you for pulling up. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of shit I would look for, dog. That's the type of shit I would look for. You know, but I understand. Shout out to my brother Rivera Frazier in the building, man. If I ain't already shouted you out, I said that's why Earl said all that cute shit cool when it's going your way. Facts. That's facts. You know, all that cute shit, all that extra shit. It's cool when you winning, yeah. You know, it's cool when you winning. But at the end of the day, you still have to go out there and get the job done. And I'd rather somebody be steadfast, you know, focusing on the game plan, can make adjustments and go off script when needed. But at the same time, like, I know they're going to be able to execute what we worked on this whole training camp. Because what the fuck, what's the reason, you know, you done worked on all this shit for and you can't actually go in there and execute it when it's time to? You know what I mean? I think Errol Spence is a coach's dream. That's the type of guy you want. Somebody that's coachable, that can do all the fundamental stuff. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who, you know, who got all this extra ultra talent and stuff like that. That's cool. You know, but a lot of times you can't, you really can't control that shit. You can't hone that shit like you want to. I'd rather have somebody, you know, that's going to go in there and, you know, be able to do all the shit that we worked on. A17 Boxing said, I repeat, this isn't the best fight at 147. What's the best fight? You think it's Terence Crawford in boots or Errol Spence in boots? Virgil Ortiz in boots? I know boots got to be in that motherfucker. If you don't think Spence and Crawford the best fight, said boots belong where he can make weight. Yeah, Rivera Frazier just asked the same question. Hey, A17, what's the best fight at 147? What you think? Earl and Boots. Damn, that's a hell of a fight. I ain't gonna lie. I think that fight is gonna be better at 154 though. You know what I'm saying? But if it happened at 47, I ain't mad at it. But I think both of those guys will be even stronger at 154. Shout out to my brother D Luckett in the building. What's good? Hey man, we been in this whole cooking, D Luckett. You know what I'm saying? We been in this whole cooking, man. Good to see you pull up though. Bernard Gaines in the building. What's good? Salute. Said, what's up, my homie contender. Earl is just all around a great boxer. He not flashy, but he get the job done. That's why so many people don't like him. Yeah. It's a lot of people, dog, that, again, I be going back to the Mikey Garcia shit. It's like they look at what he does and they don't really find something that's intriguing, or they don't find something that they can gravitate towards. So they'll say, well, let me pick this guy, or let me shit on him. And I mean, I really don't understand it, bro. I really don't get it. I'm one of those people, dog. I just like to see motherfuckers get shit done. I like to see quality work, efficiency, you know, skill, ring IQ. I like to see dominance. When I watch Errol Spence, whether it's a decision or a knockout, a stoppage or whatever, I always see Errol Spence being dominant. I always see that. I've seen where Errol Spence didn't stop a guy, but he physically dominated him. Like in the Mikey Garcia fight. He outboxed him skillfully, but in the last 3 or 4 rounds where he was actually trying to go for the stoppage, but he just didn't have the energy. He was fucking drained. He just didn't have it, literally. Errol Spence literally just didn't have it. In the 9th round on up, he was trying to get Mikey out of there, especially the 9th round. But he just didn't have it, bro. He had the whole training camp was a fat count. He didn't have no type of like strength and conditioning, bro. He was frail as fuck. That's the worst I ever seen Errol Spence in a weigh-in. For the Mikey Garcia fight, Errol Spence looked like I had never seen him like that. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker looked frail as fuck. Like, he didn't have, like, he struggled to make weight. That shit looked bad as fuck. So I was like, damn, you know. And I could tell late in the fight, he didn't really have it. That's what I was going to say. Thank you, man. I was thinking, I had that shit on my mind, bro. And I'm sitting here, I'm going with the flow and shit. And in the midst of my last point, I was trying to bring up fucking Marvin Hagler, but that shit escaped me, dog. Thank you for bringing that up. Shout out to the brother Mad Titan, said Earl is the Marvin Hagler of boxing right now. Look, that's another thing. So look, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Marvin Hagler. Not saying that y'all ain't heard of Marvin Hagler, but how many of y'all actually like watch some of y'all, some OGs that was around when he was fighting live and like watching the shit live? But then some of y'all who actually went back like me and watched Marvin Hagler and like really paid attention to what the fuck he was doing. Did y'all, like, do motherfuckers know how dominant Marvin Hagler was at 160? And look at his style. Did motherfuckers really pay attention to how dominant Marvin Hagler was? And I'm not saying Earl is Marvin Hagler. I'm not saying that. But like the brother said, he comparing his style and how he approached the game. Did motherfuckers really pay attention to how dominant Marvin Hagler was? Marvin Hagler wasn't flashy. He didn't have all these extra ass movements and shit. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have all these, all these extravagant movements and all this, but he came forward and put that pressure on your ass with a jab with physicality. You know what I'm saying? With physicality. Intelligent pressure and physicality. Very fundamental. But you ain't gonna be able to sit up here and tell me that Marvin Hagler wasn't skilled. Oh, he wasn't good because he wasn't slick. You know what I'm saying? Said what? Hagler and Spence have nothing in common besides they black. Okay. So besides the fact that they're both southpaws who apply intelligent and calculated pressure, who both have great jabs and great straight lefts, who both are very physical in their division. If you really see, I can tell, bro, either you haven't watched Errol Spence, you haven't watched Marvin Hagler, you ain't watched neither one of them. Because if you telling me they ain't got nothing in common stylistically, you sadly mistaken. Like, what is you watching? What are you watching? Like, what are you watching, bro? Shout out to the brother Marlon Cosby in the building. What's good? My man, hey, man who sold the world, man, he don't want to come to the realization. Shout out to my brother D Lucky in that super chat coming through and showing love. What's good? He said, if Earl and Bud fight and can respect each other afterwards, it can possibly open the eyes of upcoming champs and current champs to fight each other now. Fighting the best fighting the best in boxing helps boxing grow. Facts. Hey, you said some real shit, D Lucky. That's real shit, D Lucky. You know what I'm saying? That's real shit, D Lucky. That's what I want to see, bro. I want to see these dudes get in the ring, make this shit happen, and then afterwards, man, like, respect. That's ultimately what I think will happen, bro. Because when I look, like, when we seen these guys meet up in person, whether you a Terence Crawford fan or an Errol Spence fan, whether you think Terence Crawford won that exchange or Errol Spence won that exchange, motherfuckers like to gauge, body language and shit like that. One thing that I think all of us can come to an agreement on is that there was respect there. Can we all agree that when Errol Spence and Terence Crawford met up and Ellie Sickbeck caught that shit on camera, there was an obvious level of respect that these guys had for each other? You could tell that Errol Spence respect Terence Crawford and how he moving and the skills that he bring. And you could tell that Terence Crawford respected Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the fight, once the fight actually get made, and at the end of the day, that's what I want to see. No matter who wins, I just want to see respect. And I think they can set an example, like D Lucky said, man. They could definitely set an example for upcoming fighters. The guys, you see, we got a situation with Devin Haney and Kambosos. Same shit he was going through with Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, and so many different situations, man. Jamal Charlo not wanting to fight Demetrius Andrade. It's so much shit going on. I really believe that the level of respect and honor and the notoriety that both Errol Spence and Terence Crawford come with, I think they can set an example for sure. And even for the guys that people might deem a level above them, like Canelo. People look at Canelo as a level above Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, but I don't agree with that. I think let me ask y'all this. I heard Max Kellerman speak on this. Max Kellerman said that The winner out of Errol Spence and Terence Crawford when they fight is the #1 pound for pound fighter in the sport. What y'all think? The winner, when that fight is made, granted they're both undefeated, undisputed. The winner out of that fight is the number one pound for pound fighter in the sport. Max Kellerman said that, and I totally agree. I don't think there could be any argument. Whoever wins that fight, #1 pound for pound in the sport. Say y'all think EJ next fight is a guaranteed. Nobody's saying that, bruh. If you've been here heartless, if you've been here paying attention, I keep telling people that Ugas is he's a very tough opponent. I don't think it's guaranteed. Am I picking Errol Spence? Yes, but Ugas, I've said many times that Ugas can win that fight. Nobody's here just thinking that this is a guaranteed win, bro. We know what Ugas brings to the table, but we also know who the fuck Errol Spence is. But yes, whoever wins that fight is the #1 fighter, the #1 pound for pound fighter in the sport of boxing. So I think just off that alone, bro, like they could definitely set an example. You know what I'm saying? Like the winner of that fight will have so much power in their hands, bro. It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be ridiculous, dog. And I just think that's something that neither one of them can afford to pass up. You know? After this Errol Spence fight with your Dennis Ugas, if he gets past Ugas, again, I will say, if Errol Spence beats Ugas, because it's not a guarantee, Ugas is a very dangerous fighter. Ugas is an extremely dangerous fighter, and he's shown you time after time that he is very good at beating southpaws. You know what I'm saying? Very dangerous fighter. So if Errol Spence can beat Ugas, I expect him to fight Terence Crawford next. That's what I expect. And if we don't have that energy towards making the Terence Crawford fight from Errol Spence, then I'm going to have to call that out. I'm going to be 100% real with that. I'm going to be honest and genuine about that. The same way I feel that Kambosos, with only there being one fight left for Undisputed, you need to make that fight. That's the only fight left. You got to make that. So the same way I'm on Kambosos' ass for him, little dicking around and shit and not fighting Devin Haney when he supposed to, I'm going to be on the same shit with Errol Spence. If he get this belt versus Ugas and it's only one fight left, I need that energy towards Terence Crawford now. And if I don't get that, I'm going to have to call that out. And y'all know I'm a huge Errol Spence fan. But I got to keep it 100 because what I preach on this channel, I want to see Undisputed. That's what I want to see. And if Errol Spence called out Terence Crawford, and if Terence Crawford is not showing interest, and he's, Terence Crawford saying that, he's over that fight or they ain't offer him what he want, I'm going to call that out too. Because I want to see Undisputed. I think that's the best fight in the sport of boxing. And I think the winner of that fight is the pound for pound #1 fighter in the sport, and it's not close. No argument, no debate. The winner of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is the best fighter in boxing, period. Give a fuck what anybody got to say. That's how I'm moving. So with me taking that stance, I want to see that fight. And that's what I'm going to advocate for. I'm not just getting on Kambosos and them for ducking Devin Haney just because I'm a fan of Devin Haney. Yeah, I love Devin Haney and I want to see him do great. And he's black. He's a brother, black American. I want to see the brother go crazy and achieve all the things that he want to achieve. That's definitely an aspect that's there. But I want to see Undisputed. Devin Haney got the WBC. George Kambosos got all the other 3 belts. It's 1 fight left. Let's make it happen. There shouldn't even be no question about him fighting Loma and none of that shit. Don't make no sense. The same thing with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Errol Spence had these 3 belts. I'm going to be advocating for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Undisputed. No other fight makes sense to me. That's how I'm rocking. Now, the difference between me and these other guys, you know, I'm not gonna get on here and shit on either one of them. It ain't gonna be no disrespect. But I'm gonna tell the truth. It's gonna be constructive criticism. I'm gonna tell you what needs to fucking happen. You feel me? I'm gonna be on some real shit. You know, that's how we moving over here, man. We just want to see the best fighters fight the other best fighters. We want to see undisputed. I want to see one face, one name, one champion, period. That's the type of shit I'm on. I'm not on none of that weirdo shit, none of that bullshit you see these other, you know what I mean? These other folks be on, man. They got, you know, they got panels and shit on their YouTube channel. Motherfuckers calling in and, you know, having a I hate this fighter fest. You know, you got 13 motherfuckers on a panel. Everybody hate Errol Spence. Oh my God, yeah, I remember when Errol Spence, you know, when we was I went to DeSoto High School. Yeah, man, you know, Errol Spence hemmed me up on the locker. You know what I'm saying? He hemmed me up on the locker, man. He took my candy, took my lunch money, man. He took my lunch card and he used my lunch card for a whole week. You know what I'm saying? I hate that motherfucker. You know, you got 13, 20 motherfuckers on a panel calling in. Yeah, I remember when Errol Spence, he fucked my bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. We ain't on that weirdo shit. Yeah, man, I remember I hate the PBC, man. You know, all them fighters, man, they getting paid. You know what I'm saying? They getting paid, man, and they doing whatever they want to do. Man, I hate them, especially Errol Spence. He the main one. I can't stand him. That's what they do. We not on none of that weirdo shit. We ain't on none of that weirdo shit. Shout out to the brother Punch Perfect Boxing in the building. We ain't on none of that weirdo shit. If I was gonna have motherfuckers calling in, I'm not finna have people calling in trying to shit on Terence Crawford. We not finna have no whole panel on this bitch talking about how Terence Crawford a bitch ass motherfucker and how he this and he that. We not doing that. I wouldn't allow no shit over here. I wouldn't allow no shit like that over here. We not doing that. We talking about boxing, and you especially not finna come on here and just shit on no black dude. 100. You know, we ain't on none of that weirdo shit, man. You know, so that's the difference between me and them. You know what I'm saying? Say it's a few of them in the comment section. Yeah, but we ain't doing that over here. But you see that shit, you be seeing that shit though. You feel me? But again, that goes back to the tying this out. Before we get out of here, I'm tying all this shit back together. Back to the main, to the title of the video. The title of the live. When the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight happened, then what? All these guys that built their whole YouTube channel, they made whole websites. You know what I'm saying? Said dudes in here saying Spence better than Hagler. Bro, hey, that's, you know, they still, you know, I'm not gonna speak on that. I don't really like to compare like fighters of today to old school fighters and stuff, because you never gonna see them fights. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, it is what it is. I think people entitled to their opinion on that, though. You know what I'm saying? I think there's some things that Errol Spence does better than Hagler, and there's some things that Hagler did better than Errol Spence. You know? But tying all this shit together, though, all these guys that they built their whole existence off of trying to tear down Errol Spence. They whole YouTube channel, they don't get no views on no videos unless it's about Errol Spence ducking Terence Crawford. And then when the fight actually get made, what they gonna say? How you gonna get views now? The fight made now. What you gonna put on the title? All right, the fight actually happens. Errol Spence wins. Terrence Crawford wins. Don't matter. You said Errol Spence was ducking. So the whole basis of your existence is going to be for no reason when the fight get made. Because I seen that happen with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. I seen guys have their whole channel. You're right. It is Bud haters. You're right, bro. You're right. But it's not as many. It's not as many as with Errol Spence. You know why? Because I made a video on this, Steven. I said it's the lesser of the two evils. These guys, they don't like Terrence Crawford. They don't like Errol Spence. But they hate Errol Spence even more because he's more loved. He has a bigger fan base. He has more of a following. He got more support. So they like, let's tear him down because that's going to leave more of an impact on the people. Let's try to tear him down because if we tear down Terrence Crawford, that's not going to do much for us. It's going to do some people fellas going to get ruffled, but that ain't going to do the same thing. Let's tear down Errol Spence because that's going to hurt them. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality they got. That's the mentality they got, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality they got. Salute to the brother D Luckett back in that super chat, coming through and showing love. He said, you think Spence can get to Uga's body with his crouching? He covers his body pretty well. That's a great question, D Luckett. You know what? That's probably going to be one of the most interesting things in this fight is the body attack from both guys and how they choose to execute that. Because, as you stated, Ugas is very good at crouching and protecting his body. But another thing that Ugas does well in the midst of crouching down and getting real low, he's really good at getting low and protecting his body. He got, pretty long arms and his elbows is good for shielding his ribs and shit like that. He also is good at coming out of that stance out of that position and then firing his own body shots. And Ugas don't normally just throw one body shot or two body shots. Ugas throws multiple body shots. Like Ugas he'll throw like 3, 4, 5 body shots back in a row like that. So I brought up a point a few lives ago where I talked about how Jerome Boost Ennis in another interview with Blue Blood Sports TV, Blue Blood Sports TV killing this shit on the boxing shit. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. He did an interview with Jerome Boost Ennis where Jerome Boost Ennis said, when have you ever seen somebody go to Errol Spence's body? It seemed like Ennis when he was talking about the matchup with Spence, his eyes lit up. He was so interested in that. When he was talking about Terrence Crawford, he was like, yeah, I do this, I do this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying one way or the other. This is just what I got from the interview. He was like, yeah, I do this on Terrence Crawford. That's light work. But when he started talking about Errol Spence, it seemed like his wheels started turning. It's like, he started like breaking shit down like to a science. He was like, and when have you ever seen anybody go to Errol Spence's body? And when you think about it, there's not a lot of people that go to Errol Spence's body like that because it's dangerous. You leave yourself open when you go down low on Errol Spence like that. When you go to his body, because you either going, he going to the body, he aiming for your liver and your kidneys and ribs and shit like that. He might catch your ass in the temple if you dipping down low trying to hit to the body. Danny did try. Earl was stepping back and jumping back. It was a couple of those that kind of grazed him. You know what I'm saying? But Earl did a good job of stepping back. Danny actually did try. You're right. Danny did try. But Jerome Boost Ennis pointed that out, and it really had me thinking. And I went back to what the brother just said. Danny did try, but Earl was so sharp on his defense, he really couldn't get shit off. But I think in this fight, it's going to be very interesting with Ugas because Ugas is an avid body puncher. I think Ugas will go to the body. And he's going to do it whether there's a risk there or not. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I want to see if Earl can take Ugas' shots or evade them or, you know, be sharp enough to block them motherfuckers and then come back with this shit. I can really see this fight being a good inside fight for a good amount of rounds. You know what I'm saying? I can see this shit being a really good inside fight because Ugas is one of those guys who have great skill, good technical ability. He can box, but he's willing to fight too. Ugas is one of those guys that he has all of that, the Cuban background, all of the technical skills, the ring IQ, the patience, good jab, one of the best overhand rights. I think Ugas has probably the widest range of different right hands at welterweight right now. When you're talking about from an orthodox stance, if you look at the wide array of different right hands that Ugas can throw, I mean, the looping overhand right that he was catching Manny Pacquiao with that Pacquiao couldn't fucking see. You know, he throws a awkward ass overhand right like that. He throws a great straight right. He got a right uppercut. I mean, Ugas has so many different right hands in his repertoire. It's crazy. So it's gonna be real interesting, man. It's gonna be real interesting. And a right hand to the body, of course. So I don't know. That's one thing that I'm gonna be looking at is how does Errol Spence deal with Ugas' body punching? You know what I'm saying? But I always lean towards this. I just think that Errol Spence is the better inside fighter of the two. And I think Ugas' willingness to fight and exchange is probably going to be a detriment. I think early on it could cause some issues for Errol Spence because, you know, 9 times out of 10 it's going to take a moment to make an adjustment or to at least like get used to see like what he coming with. It's different when you watching film, but when you actually get in the ring with somebody, now you feel the speed. You feel the power. You feel that motherfucker whizzing by your head. So you like, okay, so this is the type of velocity he coming with on that bitch. You know, now I gotta be cautious. I gotta come from this angle instead of that angle. You know what I'm saying? So I think once Earl actually gets in the ring with Ugas, it's gonna be some different things that he probably gonna have to make adjustments to. But I think once it's all said and done by round 5, round 6, round 7, you'll see Errol Spence really get in a rhythm and really start to like apply pressure on Ugas. And I think you're going to see Ugas try to hold on Earl in this fight, just like how he did versus Omar Figueroa. I think you're going to see Ugas trying to hold on Earl, and he going to realize that he can't hold Earl because soon as he try to grab on Earl going to either break them bitches off like that and then throw body shots. You know, motherfucker going to hold on, break them bitches off, throw body shots, you know, or he going to try to hold on and Earl going to have the left hand free. I think that's what you're going to see on the inside. And then you'll see that probably for round 6, round 7, round 8. After that, Ugas going to be wore down, and that's when I think you're going to see Errol Spence like really taking it to him. You know what I'm saying? I think you will see Earl really taking it to him, using the jab. You know, you probably going to see his eye busted up. Manny Pacquiao had his eye busted up and shit like that. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see, you know, Earl busting his motherfucking his eye up and shit with the jab and just doing damage, man. And it'll be a situation where the ref will have to stop the fight. That's what I see happening. You know, but Ugas' body punching is definitely going to be a challenge for Errol Spence. So Ugas' stubbornness in the later rounds is going to get him punished. EJ a damn dog. You hear me? A dog, relentless. Big facts. Yeah, Ugas like to fight. Ugas like to fight. That's why I think a lot of people sleeping on this fight, bro. A lot of people think, like, I don't know if they think this shit gonna be boring or they just saying that because they hating. They don't want to see Earl fight for unifications and shit like that. I don't know what it is, but man, this shit gonna be fireworks, bro. Because if you ever watch Ugas fight, like anybody that go back to the Sean Porter fight. Go back to the Sean Porter fight. When Sean Porter chose to box in that fight, Ugas was standing in the middle of the ring like, come here, come on, I want to fight. Ugas was standing in the middle of the ring like, come on, let's fight. Come on. Like he want to fight. Go back to the Ray Robinson fight. He wanted to fight. I think if Manny Pacquiao would have been more aggressive, he would have stood there and fought Manny Pacquiao. But he was having so much success boxing from the outside, and Manny Pacquiao was getting stung with that sneaky ass overhand right behind the ear so much that Manny Pacquiao was a little bit hesitant to jump in there and go crazy. But I think had Manny Pacquiao jumped in there and went crazy, Ugas would have got on his ass. You know what I'm saying? Said, yo, Con, if you wasn't from Texas, would you still think Spence wasn't ducking Bud? Just asking, young brother. Nah, I wouldn't think he ducking Bud, dog. Nah, because I seen this before. I seen this before, bruh. I seen this shit before, dog. I seen it. How can he be ducking Terence Crawford if he's fighting in a unification and he want to fight Terence Crawford for Undisputed? I don't get it. And then Terence Crawford even told you that Bob Arum couldn't make the fight happen. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand, bro. But Terence Crawford said Bob Arum couldn't make the fight happen. So no, I wouldn't. I would speak on the facts. I would read between the lines and read the room and understand that no, he's not fucking ducking Terence Crawford. Why, when he's fighting for 3 belts right now? April 16th, pay-per-view, unification is going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro, come on now. You feel me? You know, now I can see we talking about Deontay Wilder or something. Y'all trying to match up Earl with Wilder. Oh my God, y'all trying to match up Earl with fucking Tyson Fury or something. Then I'll be like, oh, okay. But bruh, bruh, come on, dog. I don't think he's afraid of Terence Crawford, bro. Why? You know what I'm saying? It just don't make sense. You feel me? So do you think the fight 50-50? Because you said Bud only got a puncher's chance. That's a good question. I think, yeah, it's 50-50. I'm going to give Terence Crawford that respect and say it's 50-50. And the fact that I said that Bud only has a puncher's chance, it can still be a 50-50 fight. Because that's me respecting Terence Crawford's accuracy and his ability to line up the perfect shot and his punching power. That's just me giving respect to the things that he's been doing in the last few fights. You know what I'm saying? Landing the right shot at the right time. Turning it up at the right time to land the right shot to get the motherfucker up out of there. That's just me giving respect to that. So, yeah, I think it's 50-50 fight. Because at any moment, Terence Crawford can land one of those kill shots and get you up out of there. But I just think it's unlikely. Said fighting Bud last proves he's scared. Come on, man. Come on, man. Fighting Bud for Undisputed prove he's scared? How? All right, look, let's be real. Let's be real. Like, look, I just want people to answer this. Keep it 100, bro. Even the hardcore Terence Crawford fans who just think Errol Spence scared of Terence Crawford for some odd reason. I don't know why. But look, let me ask y'all this. Keep it 100. Keep it 100, bro. Don't be on that bullshit when I ask this question. Wouldn't you rather see Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence for Undisputed, all the belts, both of them undefeated, as opposed to having them fight earlier? I know we want to see the fight right now, but you tell me you wouldn't rather see it for all the belts. Tell me you wouldn't rather see it for all the belts. Like, if you say you wouldn't want that, bruh, you lying, bro. You lying, bruh. Bruh, see this dude, you can't. See, that's the problem with some of y'all, bro. You don't be want to keep it real. You don't want to keep it. Who wouldn't want to see it for all the belts? How you gonna say Spence don't value the belts when he fighting in a unification in less than a month? Make it make sense. If he didn't value belts, he wouldn't be fighting Ugas. Bruh, come on, dog. Come on. Said, I mean, we do, but Earl might have another obstacle in his life. But hold on. So, all right, most of y'all said yes. But I'm saying, like, bruh, it's still people lying, bruh. Like, how wouldn't you want to see Spence versus Crawford for all the belts? Like, who wouldn't want to see that? Bro, that's lit. Whoever wins is the undisputed champion, the first welterweight undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. This will be the first welterweight undisputed champion in the 4-belt era ever. Nobody ever held all 4 belts at 147 ever. This is history in the glamour division. Both of them undefeated. Bruh, how you, like, I don't understand how motherfuckers how y'all not excited about that, bruh. That shit like that excite me. For a motherfucker to go to a fight knowing that, bruh, this everything I've been working for my whole life. This everything, all the training I done did, all the fights I done had up until this point, this everything I've been working for everything, all the marbles. My biggest rival. And it's all the belts on the line. Why wouldn't you want that as a fan, as a boxing fan? Not just a Crawford fan, not just a Spence fan, but why wouldn't you want that as a boxing fan? Come on, bruh. See, that's the thing, bruh. See, I care about shit like that. Said 50-50 chance, Bud, Earl, Bud Spence, just one of a kind. Only time will tell, man down all day. Big facts. Said, yep, contender. Some Bud fans are lying their ass off. They need to stop getting in their feelings and be realistic. They know Bud just came out and suing Bob knowing he couldn't get the fight done. Facts. Man, Terence Crawford got a whole lawsuit going on. One of the brothers said earlier, Errol Spence fighting Ugas for unification. Terence Crawford fighting Bob Arum in court. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford and Bob Arum in divorce court and shit. You know, Terence Crawford trying to get a settlement. You know what I'm saying? He trying to get a settlement like Bob Arum, he did me wrong. You know, I need some extra money for my pain and suffering. You feel me? He in divorce court with Bob Arum. Errol Spence is fighting a unification match. Come on, bro. Like, what you expect? Bruh, if Terence Crawford was fighting Ugas right now, and if it was Errol Spence in divorce court with Al Heyman or some shit right now, but y'all would be going crazy. Y'all be like, yeah, man, you know Terence Crawford finna be unified at welterweight. Yeah, you know Terence Crawford, you know, he finna be unified. Come on, bruh. But because it's Errol Spence, it's a problem, though. Come on, man. You know, look, I welcome all Terence Crawford fans. I welcome any boxing fan on this channel, but just keep it real, bro. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to keep it real over here. That's all we going to do. Say, you watching the Blair Cobb fight? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, look, I'm going to be real. So, when I heard that Virgil Ortiz, when he dropped out the fight, I canceled my DAZN subscription, right? You know what I'm saying? I told my boy, I said, look, I'm going to pull that bitch back up, you know, when Devin Haney or Montana Love got a fight. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, they let you keep that hoe until the next date. So I'ma still be able to watch that bitch. You feel me? So I'm definitely watching the Blair Cobbs fight. But that made me feel, and that's before I heard about like why Virgil Ortiz dropped out the fight. I was in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I was a little bit in my feelings. So I'm like, Man, the reason I was keeping this shit for this extra month, because I wanted to see Virgil Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, fuck it, I'm finna go cancel my shit. So I canceled my subscription. But they was like, well, you get to keep tuning in until like April to the next due date or whatever. You feel me? So I still got the zone. I'm gonna watch the Blair Cobbs fight. We gonna see what's good. I'm gonna see what he got going on. Hopefully he go in there and wow us and make us believe in all the shit that he been saying. Because at this point, his bark is bigger than his bite. You feel me? But now the spotlight on him, we gonna see what he got going on. You know what I'm saying? Said we don't hate. He said we don't hate on EJ, but y'all don't put respect on Bud name in my Birdman voice. Bro, I always put respect on Terence Crawford name. If you look at my pound for pound list, if you look at my ratings, I did a fighter ratings. You know what I'm saying? I never disrespected Terence Crawford. I tell the truth. But look, I'm gonna say this. This is what people don't be liking. People don't like people who think Terence Crawford gonna beat Errol Spence. They don't like my breakdowns on that. They think because I'm an Errol Spence fan and because I think Errol Spence gonna win, they think I hate Terence Crawford. I don't hate Terence Crawford. I'm a Terence Crawford fan. I want Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford fight anybody outside of Errol Spence, I'm rooting for Terence Crawford. If Terence Crawford fight Keith Thurman, I even came out, I told y'all that I'm picking Terence Crawford over Boots Ennis right now. A lot of people don't agree with me on that, but I stand on my square. I just think right now, Terence Crawford and both Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, I think they have an experience edge over Jerron Boots Ennis right now. I think it's certain levels of their game that they already have tapped into that Jerron Ennis ain't tapped into yet. That don't mean Ennis can't beat him. I think Ennis can beat anybody at 147. But if I had to put my money on it and pick, I'm picking Terence Crawford and I'm picking Errol Spence. I don't hate Terence Crawford. I give him all this respect. If anybody asks me, hey man, look, break down Terence, what you think about Terence Crawford? I'm going to say he's a hell of a fucking fighter. He's great. Awesome. I love watching him. I think Terence Crawford is the best offensive fighter in boxing right now. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing about no hating Terence Crawford. I just think Errol Spence is better. That's all it is. I just think Errol Spence better. The nerve of you motherfuckers, though. The nerve of y'all just because I think Errol Spence better, y'all think so highly of Terence Crawford that the nerve of you to even me thinking Errol Spence is better, you take that as hate. Said it just sounds like hate when you say he got a puncher's chance. I know. But you can't take it like that, Steven. You can't take it like that. Because when I tell you he only got a puncher's chance, don't I break that down though? If I just came on here and said, no, he only got a puncher's chance, and I just left it at that, you could take that as hate. But I broke this shit down vividly on why I think he only got a puncher's chance. I didn't just throw that out there and just say, here, take that. I gave you the reasons why. I broke it down. Where you can actually understand why I would see it that way. Now, you might not agree, but it ain't coming from a place of hate, though. Said, is Blair Cobbs more like Ric Flair or El DeBarge? I think he more like El DeBarge. I don't know why he ain't taking the El DeBarge route. He over there trying to beat Ric Flair and shit, man. You got to take the Prince or the El DeBarge route. Now, no disrespect to the legend Prince, man. Hey, I shouldn't even have said that. You know what I'm saying? Like D Lucky just said, I think Bud can outbox Spence, but I respect your opinion. A100, man. He might do that. He might do that. You know what I'm saying? He might do that. It's possible, man, you know. That's why we got to see the fight happen. So I think Bud would break Bud down. Bud would give EJ nice combos, but EJ would weather the storm physically and literally hurt Bud. Doesn't matter if it's the 10th round stoppage or it go 12. Facts. That's how I see it, bro. That's how I see it. I think it's gonna be spots in that fight where Earl gonna have to weather the storm. That shit ain't gonna be easy, man. It's gonna be spots in that fight where us Errol Spence fans, where we like, ooh, damn, like I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like he might, you know what I'm saying? Shit, it might be a round or two in that bitch where we like, Terrence Crawford take that bitch to another level where we like, oh shit, he fuck around and get Earl up out of there. You know what I'm saying? He coming like that. He throwing combinations like that. Oh shit. I think it's definitely gonna be rounds like that. But I could see, like the brother just said, man, I could see Errol Spence weathering the storm, and coming back, with that heavy shit. You know what I'm saying? I could see Earl, taking that shit on, blocking, rolling with them hoes, taking that shit on. He might catch a couple on the chin, might catch one to the body. I think he gonna eat them hoes like Scooby Snacks. You know what I'm saying? Eat them bitches like Scooby Snacks and come back with that heat. You know what I'm saying? With that Texas pressure. Like Derrick James said, man, it's different when you got a motherfucker in there on your ass. You feel me? It's different. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody in boxing teach pressure like Derrick James. I don't think nobody teach pressure like Derrick James. And I really can't say that it's another fighter that applies it like Errol Spence. Cuts off the ring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But we gonna see, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get on up out of here, man. It's been a wonderful time talking this boxing with y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for showing up, commenting, you know what I'm saying? Everybody that donated to the super chat, man. Salute. I always appreciate y'all support, man. Thank y'all for liking the stream. If y'all haven't already liked the video, please like the stream. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to say, man, thank y'all for just allowing me to get on this hoe and just, just talk candidly, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just talk candidly and chop it up with y'all, man. I feel like y'all in the same room with me and shit, man. We just chopping it up, talking this boxing. It's a lot of motherfuckers that don't know shit about boxing. Boxing ain't a very, very popular sport. It's a lot of motherfuckers, you can't even walk up to them and have these type of in-depth discussions about boxing. They don't know what the fuck going on. So I appreciate y'all for allowing me to be able to come on here and talk to y'all, and have these discussions, man. But look, I want y'all to have a great weekend, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy y'all self. If y'all in my city, if y'all in Dallas, Texas, man, it's beautiful outside. I don't know where y'all at, man, but it's beautiful out here. You dig what I'm saying? But look, y'all get outside, man. Get y'all some sun, man. Enjoy y'all self. Be safe. You know what I mean? Contender regime. Boxing, I'll holler at y'all boys, man.